I love when a student gets their aha moment. Basically, something that's been a constant struggle and suddenly they have that breakthrough. Learning to make pots, the journey is long. You're gonna fail, but embrace that failure. Learn from it. All of the pots that we make have a purpose. Sometimes the purpose is that they are going to be a pot that's used, but sometimes their purpose is to teach you something. And don't hate on that pot because its job was to teach you something. Learn from it. Cut it in half. See what went wrong, and then make the next one better. I'm Ruthie Schulz, and we're here at my studio, Twisted Clay, in Grapevine, Texas. I became interested in pottery actually at a young age when I lived in Spain. Valencia, Spain is kind of known for their pottery scene. They have a lot of old traditions of pottery. And then that sort of continued when I became an adult and traveled around for my work. I had Latin America for my territory. And that meant that I got to travel to a lot of countries in Latin America. And of course, a big, rich part of tradition is that they have amazing pots. And so that's just what really made me fall in love with pottery. So my initial teacher was a lady named Sana Knox, and she was definitely a hippie, kind of who you think of with pottery. She had been a potter for about 10 years, and I really learned a lot from her, like not stress about what I was making and just allow myself to the freedom to fail and just start over again. When we moved to Charleston, I found a studio called Cone 10 Studios, and Betsy Carter kind of took me to the opposite extreme where she taught me to really control the clay. And so I think that those two teachers were probably the most influential in my life, and I feel like they were the right teacher for the right moment. Going from novice to studio potter, that transition can be pretty gradual. But when I was in Charleston, my teacher encouraged me to apply to have my work in a gallery. And the first time I applied, I was heartbroken because they told me that I was not there yet. They didn't just tell me I wasn't there yet, they told me why I wasn't there yet. I had submitted a lot of different things that I thought would show variety, but what they told me was instead of showing variety, you have to develop a style so that when they look at your work, that your mug relates to your teapot and your teapot relates to your bowls, so everything looks like it was made by the same maker. So after that, I kind of went away and worked really hard at developing a cohesive line. And so I would say about 3 years in, I did get into a different gallery. It's so funny, my husband says, you cried when you didn't get in and you cried when you did get in, and pottery is very emotional. I cried a lot of times when I was in that first journey. And then when we moved to Nashville, I began doing art shows, and that sort of took my studio potter dream to a whole different level. Transitioning from studio potter to teacher, that actually was really interesting because when I would do art shows, people all the time would say, oh, you should teach pottery, you should teach pottery. And I would always say, no, I think I would not be a good teacher. I really just want to be a maker. I had kids that were young, and I wanted to stop traveling to do art shows. I liked the idea of becoming more local with my business. But in my particular area, which is part of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, there really wasn't a whole lot of demand for handmade pots. I had to go to Nashville, or I had to go to Oklahoma City, basically where these art shows were, that I could sell my work. So I started Twisted Clay because I really was interested in helping my area learn about this wonderful medium that I had fallen in love with. And I felt like in this area there was a lot of appreciation for art in the sense that it was painting, sculpture, that was very highly valued, and pottery was sort of the underdog. And so I wanted to help people understand just how amazing pottery is. And then in addition to that, community. Adults do not have a lot of opportunity to come together around learning something. This is a place for people to come, build friendships, learn a new skill. There's something that those friendships built around working on something together, they're just a different level. And so the community aspect was definitely high up there as well. The studio has grown beyond what I ever thought it would. I think my initial goal was, oh, it would be amazing if I could have 100 students. And right now we have 180 students enrolled in our current 6-week class, and we turn students away every time we have signups. And the reason why we stay so full is we have very, very high retention, and it goes back to that relationship aspect and just continuing to learn. Our classes push you to do more, to try something harder, to really continue to learn and become a better potter, along with your friends that you've met here at the studio and have become quite close to. We build our skill set by working in a project environment. And it also makes it more entertaining because you're not just literally sitting at the wheel working at that skill. You get something at the end of it that's really nice and you add it to your collection. Most of the projects that we work on here in the studio are functional pots, and to me that just means something that you use in your life. It doesn't necessarily just sit on a shelf. You don't just hang it on a wall. And to me that is what's so special about pottery, is that it's something you interact with in your life. You get to experience it not only visually but also functionally. So Twisted Clay has 22 pottery wheels between the main studio and Studio Plus. So that's both for classes and for people to come in and do their practice individual working time. We've also got 3 electric kilns, and those kilns are for our bisque firing and for our cone 6 firing. I have a gas kiln, which I'm very passionate about, that I love to fire. Now, what we are really excited about is bringing all of our project-based learning to our online audience, because I believe firmly that when you're learning by making a project, your brain is going to sort of absorb that information differently than if you're just simply working on a skill. So we are extending that to our online audience because it has been so successful in the studio. There's a reason why people keep coming back. We have people that have been here since we opened, and they're still here because they're still learning. They're still enjoying the process of learning to work in clay. I've been teaching for 8 years, and I have yet to run out of things to teach people. Here at Twisted Clay, we have really experienced a really beautiful community. There's a lot of just coming together over such a common interest, and I really can't wait to extend that community to our online audience, and I can't wait to see how people engage together in this new online platform.